Next thing we're going to install is the yellow wire. We're going to use that to go to the stepper drivers here. The stepper drivers need 3 different signals. They need the pulse, they need the direction, and they need enable. Okay? So the pulse tells it to move, right? These are stepper drivers, so they move in steps. Every time you give it a pulse on the step, it moves the motor just a little bit every time. And then the direction tells you what direction it moves. So positive direction, negative direction, right? And then the enable actually turns the driver on. It holds the motor so you can't move it by itself, and it grabs it as it moves back and forth. Okay, so here we got the yellow cable, and we're going to look at our pin mapping again. So step pulse for x-axis is on 2, step pulse for y-axis is on 3 here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because my wire's right here, I'm going to install it into this side first. And these are nice big screw terminals, so I'm going to make sure that there's plenty of these big things to grab. If I have a huge screw going down, the bottom's usually curved slightly. And if I just have my wire sitting there on this big area, there might be space underneath that it doesn't actually grab onto that wire. Okay? So I'm going to take this wire and fold it over to make sure it has plenty to grab onto. So I'm going to about half an inch or so pull the sleeve off, twist this off, right? And then I'm going to fold this in half. I got a little too much wire here, I'll chop the rest off. There you go, fold it in half. That way it has plenty to actually grab onto. Okay? So from here, I'm going to pretend like I'm coming along the frame, right? Coming over here, and I'll start with the x-axis. So that's the pulse over here. Okay? And we're going to do negative signals. So all the pluses on here are going to get 5 volts. All the negatives are going to get signal. Okay? So the pulse, negative pulse, will be this pin right here. Open this up. Okay, push it in. Screw it down. And tug test it, right? And no wires showing out the side. So now I'm going to, pretend that it's going along the frame here. Keep it coming down. And we're going into pin 2, which is over here. So it's got to curl down and back up. So that looks about right. Cool. And this one, these are much smaller screw terminals here, so I'm just going to barely pull any sleeve off and twist that rest of that sleeve off. That way I can get it in there. Okay, and then I go to D2 on this board, open it up, put it all the way in, and make sure you don't see any sleeve. If you see sleeve as it's pushed in, chop it shorter. Or if you see wire as you push it in, chop it shorter. You only want to see sleeve. Okay, screw that, tug test it, and no wire as I'm tugging it. Perfect. So we'll do that one more time. Take my wire, try to do the right amount this time. Okay, twist the sleeve off, fold it over so there's plenty of grab. Okay, run it along here. Now this one's going to the Y driver. I labeled mine, that way you don't get them mixed up. On the negative signal, the negative pulse signal, I'm going to plug this in and screw it down. Get it nice and tight, tug on it, we're looking good. And then pretend that it's installed. Run along here. Okay. Coming down and up. And then just a little bit. And the Y is on 3. So we'll go to D3 on this. I'm going to open that up. There it is. Make sure you don't see any wire as it's pushed in all the way. Tighten that down and give it a tug test. And there we go. So that's the yellow wire. Thanks for watching.